I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know I can't like resist like a good dad joke. Hey, what up, y'all? Mr. Cruz here, your friendly neighborhood producer, back with another video. And in today's video, we're taking a look at Caelum Audio's Flux Mini 2. So Caelum Audio's Acid Reflux Mini 2. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know I can't like resist like a good dad joke. So Flux Mini 2 is a brand new modulation plugin courtesy of Caelum Audio. Maybe you have or have not heard of their name. I specifically remember them from the Tape Cassette 2 plugin. But on top of that, like, they've got mad dope loops. Like dope loops on top of dope loops on top of dope loops. So recently they've released an updated version of a previous plugin that they have done, the original Flux Mini, and we're gonna take this out for a test drive and throw it on some guitars, see what we can come up with. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but I'm not one to be against nature, but I have half a mind to like release a ton of bobcats in my neighborhood just to get rid of all these bird sounds. So the good thing about this is that it comes with this graph here, which gives you a lot of flexibility and a lot of freedom as far as like what you want to do. Because what this is a filter modulation plugin. Essentially, you're going to be able to create a filter, add modulation, and then be able to control the syncopation between your filter and your actual instrument. So there's a good and a bad about this. The bad is that it doesn't really come with a manual, so like you're kind of stuck if you don't know what the parameters already do. So like these names don't sound familiar, you're not going to be able to learn what they are outside of just experimenting like a suburban girl who goes to college. But the good thing is that we're given this graph here, which allows us to not only control the shape, but to actually kind of create our own shapes. And we actually get a lot of flexibility as far as like how we want our shape to look. Now, again, this shape is going to be controlling the filter, which in turn controls the modulation, which in turn makes our sounds lit. So before we kind of go forward, let me explain to you what we have here. So we have 3 different filter cutoff frequencies. We get our low pass, a band pass, and a high pass. Okay, pretty standard. That's like the 3 that people are predominantly going to use. We get our filter cutoff, we get our resonance, and we get our amp. But then down here, we also get a modulation, and it's bipolar. So that means it can go with positive and negative numbers. We get our sync knob. And if we don't feel like being in sync, yo, I'm 2 for 2 for the dad jokes. Let's go. We can click this button down here and it will change it to milliseconds. And then we get our mix knob. This is probably what I'm going to end up messing around with because I would rather use the mix knob in here, or you can kind of use the kind of blend knob that we have here in FL. And then here we have these 2 kind of weird buttons here. So let me try to explain what this is, because again, I'm trying to figure this out without having read a manual. So what we have here is kind of like our expand and contract. So if you click this button here at the top, what it's gonna do is it's gonna duplicate the shape that you have or the pattern that you have, and it's just kind of going to continue to duplicate no matter how many times you press it. So bam, now it duplicated it twice. So if I click it again, bam, it duplicated it 2 more times. If I click it again, bam, it duplicated it 8 times. If you click this button down here, it's kind of going to stretch it back out, or it's going to like delete the duplications. So bam, we're back down to 4. Bam, we're back down to 2. Bam, we're back down to 1. Yo, this is giving me flashbacks of my bank account. And if you click this button down here, it'll completely reset it, and then you'll be left with a straight up flat line. RIP. Much love. And over here we have a toolbar. Actually, what I did is I hit the settings here, and I selected the floating toolbar so that I can kind of have this available at all times. So with the pencil selected, it allows us to kind of create things. You actually don't even need to have the pencil selected if you don't want to, because you can actually just double click to be able, or just click somewhere or double click to create something, and then you can use the right click to maneuver it and move it around. If you have the eraser selected, then when you click, it'll erase something. So you can kind of double click to create one and then click it 1 time to be able to erase it. These 2 magnets, I think I understand what they're doing. So when you have this one over here, the one with the squiggly line under it, it allows you to freely maneuver about the grid. When you have this one selected, the nodes will actually snap to the grid, so you get more resolution-y movements. And another cool thing is that in the settings, you can actually zoom in and out of the grid. So like if you wanted to zoom in to have more finite details, or if you wanted to move around and be a little bit more flexible, you can kind of zoom out. Same thing with the X and the Y grid. So that's actually, I've never seen that before. All right, let's throw this bad boy on a guitar loop and see what we can kind of come up with. So by now y'all should know, if y'all been watching my channel for at least like the past year, I love presets. I love it when a plugin comes with a lot of presets because it gives me a lot of good starting points and a lot of good examples of how I should use this plugin or what this plugin is really capable of. So I'm hearing a lot of really good things, a lot of really cool things, and even some of the shapes that they're kind of coming up with are pretty crazy. Like the horn goat one, like this reminds me of like Bendy and the Ink Machine. Anybody who has kids probably knows what that is. So I really appreciate that it comes with a lot of different plugins. I really like this one that we ended up with here, the gentle vocal chop. So let's go ahead and keep this one, and then let's move some of the parameters around and kind of see what we can kind of come up with. All right, personally, I kind of think that I butchered it. I went a little carried away with it. Honestly, I think just this and then messing around with the sync knob could get you like 75% of the way there of taking a sound that sounds, you know, pretty good on its own to sounding even better. And the most beautiful thing about this is that this is free, 100% free, courtesy of Caelum Audio. Big shout out to them from the producer community. I've used some of their plugins in the past and they have not disappointed. And recently we had a pretty interesting little interaction over on Twitter. So I appreciate their sense of humor too. Well, that's what I got for you guys. If you feel like you've learned something, make sure you hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the Flux Mini 2. And if you're interested in seeing my take on one of the greatest free plugins ever created, make sure you click this video right here. Outside of that, it's your boy, Mr. Cruz. Out.